Hello world, Christian Truther here, and I've got another video for you today in my Tidbits series where I try and cover a flat earth argument in about 2 minutes, although this one will take an extra minute. And as usual, we're continuing through a video that says they have 200 ways to know you're not on a spinning ball. We're looking at those point by point. These are my rules, and as always, I'll be putting links to evidence or mathematical equations into the description below, so check that out. But point 12 is looking at a French science experiment where two French scientists climbed a mountain in Spain called Alto del Bartolo, and they put a light with a reflector on that mountain. Then they traveled about 100 miles away to the island of Ibiza, and on a mountaintop there they were able to see their light. And the argument from the flat earth side says that if the world were indeed round, that spherical curvature would have meant that the drop of about 6,600 feet would have taken place, that they'd be looking down 6,600 feet below their line of sight. Now there's a little bit of truth that needs to be said. First of all, the flat earth is a little bit wrong. They were not actually at the same altitude. There's no place on the island of Ibiza that's the same altitude as Alto del Bartolo. Their actual site was probably about 1,000 feet short. Remember, that's what they were standing observing their light. So looking, that light would have been about 1,000 feet higher. So instead of 6,600 feet, it'd be 5,600 feet. Now, let's take a look at the round earth argument on this point. It's typically incorrect as well because they argue, well, of course they can be able to see the light. But that's not the argument here. The argument is that the drop would have been over 6,000 feet. Now we know it to be about 5,600 feet. But the drop would have been about 5,600 feet. And that doesn't make sense to be able to be looking down at something that's, way up there that far. But it actually does make sense because at this distance, 6,600 feet looking down at 100 miles is roughly equivalent to 15 feet and a drop of less than 3 inches at 15 feet. All right, so here's my extra point on this. These two scientists were trying to figure out the meter. When the French were trying to figure out the metric system, they love to base it on nature. For instance, they would put the freezing point of water as 0 degrees C. Well, they were trying to figure out 1/10,000th of the distance of the Earth from the North Pole to the equator, and they were really close. And they were figuring curvature into this, and that's how they were trying to be able to figure that out. 19th century methods would have had just the smallest problem with exact altitude and accounting for atmospheric refraction in their calculations, but they were really close, extraordinarily close. And so the meter is almost exactly 1/10,000th of a quarter of the circumference of the globe. And so this point is busted. These guys were doing what they said they were going to do, and they really closely succeeded. This is Christian Truther, signing out.